Right, I'm bored of seeing smoke from the exhaust of this car. Let's get the engine open and fix it.
I've tried pretty much everything I can think of to stop this car smoking. I've changed the head gasket, put in head gasket sealant, added wind stop smoke, done piston soaks, changed spark plugs and injectors, but nothing has worked. This has led me to today, where I'm finally biting the bullet and taking the pistons out to replace the piston rings.
So when you do a big project like this, you want to make sure that you're fully prepared, fully ready to go, and you've got all the tools and all the equipment that you need so you can just do the job start to finish and not stop halfway through and think, ah, crap, I've forgotten something or I'm missing a tool, I'm going to have to wait a few days for the thing to arrive. Be prepared. That's my advice. Part of being prepared is preparing your work surfaces, if you have any obviously. If you don't have any, you can still make it work. You can put things on the floor if you need to. I've cleaned the surface here. I know it might not look like it. This is ready for any parts, so injectors, spark plugs, anything like that can go on here, and I know that this is pretty much super clean. I've also got this, so when I take bolts out, I can stuff them in and I can make notes as to where everything goes, so I know that when I put the car back together, I know exactly which bolt goes where. Lastly, you want to make sure you've got the tools that you need. These are just some of the bits. Obviously, I've got my socket set, my impact driver, my mini drill driver, little right angle driver, torch, hex and Torx bits, and then obviously the rest of the tools, which I'll get out as I need. The last bit, which is my new toy, is this big 3-ton jack. It is absolutely brilliant. I love it. It's so much easier than the small one that I had, and it's so much faster. So without further ado, let's take this engine apart.
You always want to make your life as easy as possible. Here I'm taking off the boot lid to get better access, and then I'm disconnecting the battery. Next up is removing the ignition coils, the rail and the spark plugs. This then gives us access to all the bolts and hoses to remove the rocker cover. We need to remove the exhaust manifold, so remove the 5 bolts holding it onto the head, and then start disassembling the exhaust. To get access to parts of the exhaust, you'll need to take the lights and bumper off. It's always good to just spray bolts down with a bit of penetrating fluid, and then we can take the bolts out a bit more easily. I really struggled to get the exhaust out for some reason. I don't know, I just couldn't figure out how it came out.
So I just got most of the exhaust out. I still can't quite work out how to get the back box out, but it's fine. I might just leave it in because it's not really in the way. What we've got is a lot more space here to work, and also the exhaust manifold is off, which is great. You can see which ones are burning oil. Jeez, I thought it was just cylinder 1, so it's actually cylinder 3 as well. Started to get most of the gubbins out of the engine. I've removed a lot of the stuff that's on the side here, all these bits that are going to get in the way. There's a few hoses still to remove. Got to get that one off down the back. This, can't remember how to get this off. I think it's just a clip, but I think the clip's actually underneath, so that's going to be a bit tricky, but that's fine, we can get that off. I've got to remove the inlet manifold, which is here. So you've got one bolt here, or one nut, and then you've got one here as well. They can be a bit tricky to get off. It's just trying to find the right tool and the right angles. And then we will work on getting the mount off, but we will do that afterwards. Let's just get the intake manifold off for the sec. So all of that is coming out. That and that.
Very impressive.
Oh, thanks. What do you think, Chips? Woof woof. So I've got rid of all the connectors on here. You had a bolt here, bolt there, a hose there, connector there, hose there, and a hose right on the back down there. So that's all of those disconnected. So that's that side pretty much done. The intake manifold is now released
it's not going to go up much further. That's the problem with leaving the engine in and not pulling the engine out, is that does get in the way. That can be quite tricky to get on and off, but way easier than taking this whole thing out. And I also don't have an engine hoist. I'm going to move on to this side now. I'm going to start with the mount. There's a couple of bits here. This tensioner here, for example, that needs to come off. So let's remove this filter. That will give us better access to everything. And then we can start taking some bits apart. Because I need to take the engine mount off, that means obviously the engine's not going to be supported on this side. So what I'm going to do is jack the car up, put it on jack stands so I've got good access to everything, especially the bits underneath. And then I'm going to support the engine with my smaller jack, and that will just stop anything from dropping, anything from being damaged. And then we can also raise and lower the engine as we need to get access. So let's jack it up, let's support the engine from underneath with the smaller jack, and then let's get that mount off. That is now supported underneath, so that's stopping the engine from going anywhere. So when I take the mount off now, it should be nice and stable. One of the negatives of leaving the engine in the car to do this job is that a lot of the bolts can be really tricky to get to. You've got to try a combination of different tools just to get these bolts out. Okay, so I've got the 3 bolts out here. Now I've got to get the wheel off, because there's another bolt there, which, to be fair, I could just get it off without taking the wheel off, but you get better access to some of the bolts in here anyway with the wheel off, so we'll get it off. I've taken the bolt off there. See, there, it's now out. Wheel is off under the car for a bit of added security. And at the moment, that mount is just resting on the other main part of the mount. So this part is resting on here. We want to get this main bit out. So I'm just going to jack the engine up a little bit more so it stops sitting on this part of the mount. Then we can take it off, and then we can deal with this one, where there's 2 nuts. So one on this side, one on the other side. We just got to loosen those off. Tricky to get to, but not too bad. Oh, that's interesting, that was loose. It's probably causing some rattles. So it was supported here, but actually I've put my other jack on the oil sump because it wasn't supporting it properly. So it's only supporting 1/3 of the engine is on that side, if not less. And then 2/3 was on this side, so it would have probably just tipped over a bit too much. Support it on the oil sump, and then obviously you can swap it over to something else when we actually come to taking the oil sump off. That mount is out. Turns out I was actually missing a nut, so there would have been 3 to undo. Now we've got to get this belt tensioner off. So there's a bolt underneath there. There's one on there, and there's one there. Now I want to make sure the car's at top dead center, so I'm going to make sure that the mark here and a mark, they should line up on the top. So both at the top there, and there's also a mark down here on the crankshaft pulley, which is that white dot. Marked it up last time. Let me give it a turn. We'll see if they do. Okie dokie. Next on the list, we're going to look at our engine manual. We're going to go on cylinder head removal, and this is giving us a whole guide on how to remove the cylinder heads. And this is what we're after. It's the order that we need to undo the bolts that are holding the camshafts. So I'm going to follow this and undo them sequentially and bit by bit. So I'll probably do it in like 2 or 3 passes. Just loosen them a bit and then go around and then go again. So I've taken the camshafts off. See everything a little bit better now. The valves. There's a little bolt right there. That one. You've got to leave the chain in place, leave that in, and you've got to get that off, but don't drop it into the bottom of the engine. Got a bolt on there. God, I did not do a good job the last time I put this together. Loads of stuff was still loose. Probably my least favorite part of the whole repair is trying to get this little bolt out. I just got to try and get it out. All right, this little bolt is being an absolute pain, and I think this ratchet spanner is now stuck in there because I can't tighten it because it's a ratchet spanner. So it's almost loose. It's literally like pretty much there. I think it would be fine to take the head off, and this should just pop out once that's done. Okay, next we've got to remove the bolts that are holding the head in. So we've got number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, 5, number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so it just says remove them in sequence in several passes. So I'll crack them, loosen them a bit, and then take them off. There's one little bit that I've just missed that I've just noticed, which is the camshaft sensor over here. You can see I've actually mashed it up a little bit, which isn't great, but it's not the end of the world. So just need to get the, see if I can get this sensor out. There we go. Now is the big moment. Have I undone everything, and can I take the head off? Let's find out. I'm gonna take all the head bolts out. Might be another bolt down here. It's gonna be that one, I think. There are 2. Maybe I'll get them both off just in case. Yes, there we go. And there's just that pipe to remove, and we're home free. And if I'm not mistaken, so is the head. There they are, those stupid pistons. So I can only see, obviously, these 2 pistons, but having a look, it doesn't look like they're particularly scored or anything. They all look pretty good. This is the one that was burning oil. Piston 3, 2 wasn't burning oil. Overall, looks fine. I've got the hone, so I'm still going to re-hone them anyway, just in case. This is the main culprit, potentially, and this one didn't potentially have an issue, but they could all be getting gunked up, so good to redo them anyway. But okie dokie, so the head is off. Next, we've got to take the oil sump off, but first we've got to drain all the oil out. So let's drain it out, and then we'll take the bolts off, take the sump off, and then that will give us access to the pistons. So the sump is now out. Finally can get access to all the gubbins. And this is what we've been waiting for. Bottom of the pistons, 2 and 3, and then 1 and 4 are going to be up there. So we'll have to turn the engine to get access to them. Crazy, I actually did it. Look, piston. Look at that. That's the first time I've ever pulled one from a car. Ever. And I got it on camera. That's so sick. Let's get the other 2 out and then let's have a look at them. Joe, even with a garage and lots of tools, that is still a hard job. Props to anyone who does do it. But here they are, my beauties. All arranged in order. Well, you basically want to keep all the parts with their bits because otherwise they're going to be like the wrong sizes when you put them back together. So do not mix these up.
Be careful when you take them out as well. You don't want to scratch anything. You don't want to scratch the bores. The bores. So I'm going to get the rings off the pistons now. And I think I might let the pistons soak overnight. I'll look it up first. I don't want to do some damage to them, but if that is a safe thing, then I'll let them soak, get all the crap out, and then put them back in and reverse all of this stuff. Ah! Nah, it's all good. Roo, all the rings are on. Whoppa, whoppa, whoppa. And I've just put a little bit of oil on the rings. I feel like that's probably going to help it go in a bit better. So I'm just going to do it for the rest of them. And then making sure these are all lined up at 90 degrees. One gap here, one gap here, one gap here, and one gap on the other side. I'm then going to use this tool, which I've never used before, which is going to be interesting. Basically just squishes the rings down like that and then presses over them, and that way you can get it inside the cylinder. So that's what we're going to do next. And making sure they're all super duper clean, I'm going to start angling these rings. Okay, one can go there, that one can go there, it's there. It's like that thing in the Da Vinci Code when they have to unlock it to unlock the secret. I think the code was like Apple or something. Right down. Ooh, without pinching your fingers. Right, I don't really know how I'm supposed to do this. Okay, here we go. I've oiled up the surface as well, so hopefully it will help. Okay, trying this again. Did that work? Okay, so one more time. Lined up the rings, put the tool on top, squeeze it down. Something soft to hit the piston down with. Tap that flat, and then okay, and again. Ooh. Also just going to put a little bit of oil on the edge. So I've found how to do it. You basically want to put it in a vise just to hold it, just gently so it's not scratching anything. And then the bottom, you want to line up with like the head bit there. Same on the other side. And that way you get a nice flat seal. And then taking it over to the actual engine, it's the wrong way round. There we go. And I should just be able to gently tap it in. And tap that so it's nice and flat as well. And we're in. And there we go. So all 4 pistons back in the engine. I'm gonna push this one down. Cool, that's about as far as it's gonna go. Same as that one. I'm gonna get these 2 attached on the bottom, and then I'll do the other 2. So keeping things nice and simple, make sure the piston is sat in its place, but it doesn't look like it is. Where is it? Okay, it's there. That feels like it's lined up. And then I'm gonna push from the top. Hopefully it will go down a bit more. Just a lot of back and forth underneath and above, but Making good progress. This bearing plate bit, and just make sure it lines up here. Well, I'm gonna fish this one. I'm gonna turn the crankshaft to bring these two back up and these two down the bottom. That should also, in theory, get the engine lined up again. But I also need to torque these to spec as well. So a few little bits to do. I've just tightened them to 20 Newton meters each in several passes, just to make sure it's even. And then the last bit was put a little mark of Tipex or white paint on it, and then just tighten them to 90 degrees. Cars, right? So I was having an issue. I was turning the crankshaft after I'd installed 2 of the pistons. And as I was turning it, it was really hard to turn, and it shouldn't be like that. It should turn with a bit of resistance. For the most part, you should just be able to do it with like a ratchet or something. I undid the bolts at the bottom of the piston and tried turning it again, and it was absolutely fine. So basically, I think I've tightened the bolts, but I've tightened the actual caps of the piston to the crankshaft, so it's like rubbing as I'm turning it, and it's, you know, 2 bits of metal pressed together. They're supposed to turn freely independently of each other. So what I'm going to do is, I've got this little feeler gauge. I'm just going to make sure on either side there is a bit of, at least a bit of a gap, then tighten them up, then see how that goes. Try 0.25. Yep, that goes in. This side, no. I was worried there for a sec. Get rid of that. I basically installed the caps the wrong way round on one of them. Obviously got these 2 guiding pin bolts, and I basically installed it the wrong way round. So it just wasn't seated properly, and it was rubbing, and now it turns as free as a bird. So always good to check these things. Check, double check, just make sure you get it right. Let's do the next 2. The pistons are turning freely. The engine's now at top dead center, so let's clean off all this crud and the old gasket, and then we're going to reinstall the new gasket, and we'll clean off the crud from underneath the sump as well, because we need to get all that off, and then get it installed. I've also soaked all the old bolts in engine oil for the past day. I'm going to give them a good clean up, and then they should be absolutely fine to get back in the car. Silicon's done, not too bad if I do say so myself. So let's put it back on the bottom of the sump, which I've already cleaned and prepped, put the bolts back on, and then let's start getting the car back together. Sump's back on, just put the oil filter back on. So next, we're gonna have a look at cleaning up the block, put the head gasket on, and then work our way up through there. Let's do it. I picked up this gasket kit. It's pretty much got everything I need, including obviously the head gasket. It's got the valve stem seals. It's got the rocker cover gasket. It's got the intake air manifold gasket, exhaust manifold gasket, and it's even got the exhaust adapter that goes on about here. So it's got loads of bits in here, and it actually worked out cheaper. I basically was just looking to get the valve stem seals and the head gasket. And if I bought those separately, it would have been more expensive than getting all of this combined. So definitely worth doing. I mean, some of this stuff, I don't even know what it's for, but I think we'll probably work it out as we go. I'm gonna give the block one more wipe down just to make sure everything's super duper clean. Make sure I'm wearing fresh gloves when I touch the head gasket as well. Don't want to get any oil on there. And then I'm gonna install the head gasket. We're gonna change the air intake manifold gasket as well. And then we're gonna add some liquid gasket onto here. And then we'll get the head back on. And then it's just connecting everything back up, and fingers crossed it all worked.
If you want to see a full video on how to remove and reinstall valve stem seals with my trick that I haven't seen anyone else do yet, click on the video here.
I've got a lot longer than I thought it was going to, but valve stem seals are done, thank goodness. Next on the list of things that need to be put back together, we're going to tighten the head bolts. Can't just tighten them willy-nilly because you'll potentially crack the head. So what you've got to do is tighten them to the specific torque Newton meterage and in the correct sequence. I've got all that here. So your car will be different, but for me, this is the sequence. So I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in that sequence. So it says do it in several passes up to 49 Newton meters. That's what I'm going to do. I'll do 2 or 3 passes. So unfortunately the timing's out. I thought I'd been really careful and made sure it was right, but I guess I didn't. So you have these yellow marks on the timing chain, but I can't see them at the moment. So that means that they're going to be down there somewhere, and I've basically got to cycle the engine until I can see them at the top again. Then I know that they're going to be at the top and correct. I'll make sure the bottom mark on the camshaft is at top dead center. I'll make sure the marks on the camshafts are correct and lined up, and then we should be good to go. Getting there, it's slow progress. This is what happens when you leave the engine in the car. It just takes longer to do stuff. It's not as easy or convenient, but you don't have to take the engine out. So as long as it's quicker to do all this than it is to take the engine out, they're still winning. Let's see if that's correct. I don't know anymore. Okay, so I just looked it up because it still wasn't working, and this is what we're trying to get to. So you want to have yellow bit there, 2 dots here lining up, and then dot on the top, and I want to say a line on the top. Let's just say E here, so dot there, and that's going to be intake. And here we've got the same, so we've got dot at the top, 2 dots here that are lined up, and line at the top there. It took me 4 tries, but hopefully that's right. I'm gonna put the caps back on and turn the engine one more time, and fingers crossed it's gonna go nice and smoothly.
And it did. I got the timing right.
So as per the instructions, 23 Newton meters for each of these in order, in sequence leading up to that. That should not be like that. That should be like that. Snapped a ruddy bolt. What we're gonna do is get the welder out. I'm gonna put a little nut on top. I should take the camshafts off, but it's been a long day. I'm just gonna see if I can get it without. If not, I'll take them off afterwards. I'm basically just gonna weld a big spludge of solder right in there. Hopefully it will connect to that bolt, which will then connect it to this nut, and then hopefully once that's cooled down they'll be fused, and then I can just get it out with a spanner. I'm not going to be stupid. I've gone through all this hard work to put all this stuff back together. I'm going to take the camshafts off, or at least just that one, just try and get it out of the way if I can, and then do the weld, so I'm not welding to the camshaft and causing myself more issues. Let's do that. Right, I've done the sensible thing. I've taken the camshaft off, the boring thing I'd say. Now let's weld this sucker on there, see if we can't get it off. Yeah, they... Let's let it cool down, see what we get. This is just some like WD-40 equivalent. This will be interesting. Oh, what? That actually worked? No way. Yeah, look. I was tempted to just leave it in there. So I am super chuffed. Wow. That was easy. Guys, what are you complaining about? Just get a welder, weld it out. You're done. You're done. Oh, that's... Nice. Right, I've tightened all the bearing cap bolts. So next I'm going to put the belt tensioner in. Got a little clip, this little latch, and then on the front you've got a little catch. So as I push down and relieve pressure, I can then lift this up. And in theory, there you go. And push that down all the way. And then remembering to actually put the catch the right side, and push this down all the way, and then push the catch on. Pokemon. Can I do that? Can I do that on YouTube? Probably not. I don't know. I'll find out, I guess. So let's put it in. So I'm going to take this bolt out. I've already loosened it. It's not just hand tight in there. And then I'm going to sit the tensioner in position like so, or like so. Ah, do you know what? I didn't need to take that out. It was really tight earlier for some reason. Let me put that back in. Nice. Now as the engine turns, the belt tensioner will pop back out. We'll obviously put the latch on, but the latch will catch on something. I'm not sure. So if you listen really well. You good? Listen. Not yet. All right, now you'll hear like a doesn't seem like it's unlatched. There we go. I just hit it in there. You can see it. It's that silver bit. So I just gave that a wiggle. And now that's popped out. We should be able to hear it. Get it done today. I'm just gonna put everything back now. Okay, I've just put everything back together really quickly. The exhaust is not on, so it's gonna be loud. But fingers crossed it's gonna work, because I gotta go in. That's my day done. Even gonna start. No idea. Oh. Nice. I think I did it. I think I bloody done it. Sorry. Yeah, I think so. Thanks. I can't believe it actually worked. It's so crazy. I'm so excited. Right, there's going to be loads more MR2 stuff coming out soon. I'm going to just get it looking really cool, going to fix loads of bits, and it's going to be really exciting. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because then you'll be notified when the next video comes out. And thanks for watching. Catch you later. Bye.